Okay, so we've done calamine. Our next prescription in our package here is an Aquaphor lanolin prescription. Applied to the feet 3 times a day. We're gonna make 100 grams. So, oh, right over here. Sorry. Here's our master formula. We have 4 ingredients in here. It's a foot ointment. This is the formula we're going to use. The preparation instructions are pretty vague. It says blend lanolin, glycerin, and mineral oil, mix with the Aquaphor package and label. Now, we have used mineral oil before, and as you can see, it is a liquid. Here's the lot. And things like that if you're wanting it an expiry for your documentation. And the glycerin as well. Okay, so we've got glycerin and mineral oil. The reason I wanted to pull those out is because obviously those are liquids. So I'm not going to mix this on an ointment pad or a slab because there's a significant amount, 15 grams and 10 grams of each of these, and that's going to make a mess on an ointment slab. So we're going to do this in a mortar and pestle. Our other ingredient here is lanolin. Okay, so anhydrous is what we have here, and Aquaphor, which we've seen before. Now, lanolin is an ointment type base. This is what it looks like. It's pretty, it's gross looking, not gonna lie. What lanolin actually is they boil sheep's wool, and this is what comes off of the sheep's wool. So it smells like a barn whenever we make this one in lab. We've had it on days when we have the menthol prescription too, or are using like a menthol in a cream. And it just opens everyone's sinuses, and then we get a nose full of barn smell, and it's very sticky too. Here, I'll throw on a glove. The reason we use it is it's very good at keeping moisture in. So a lot of creams actually used for like lanolin creams are quite popular for breastfeeding mothers or whatever when they've got chafing and things like that. But as you can see, it's quite sticky, almost kind of like honey. So it's very thick, and it is very occlusive. It keeps moisture on the skin. So that's why we use it. We're going to mix it with some other stuff. Yep. Okay. Okay, so I've got my mortar and pestle. I'm switching my gloves because that lanolin was gross. And I don't want it on my gloves the whole time. Okay, now I also don't have a scale at home, so I'm going to do my best here. But things that I wanted to point out, this has grams of glycerin and grams of mineral oil. So if I was in lab, I would measure all 4 of these ingredients with a scale. Now, as I said, the mineral oil and the glycerin are liquids, but this definitely has grams. So we would use a scale, and we would follow these numbers exactly because our prescription actually was for 100 grams. So minimal math required for this one, which is nice. Okay. So that being said, we're going to do lanolin, glycerin, and mineral oil together. Yep. And I'm just going to do my best for for measurements. So please bear with me. Okay, so like I said, in lab, I would have my glycerin weighed out in a weigh boat. I'm just going to do my best here, kind of estimating. We could also do a calculation for specific gravity if we had that information available to us. Excuse me. Sorry, that was a sneeze there. I'm okay, I promise. So yeah, we've got our glycerin here, and we're going to add our mineral oil. I like to mix my liquids together first, and then we'll add the lanolin to that afterwards. Okay, so we're going to mix those together. They go together quite nicely because they're both fairly viscous. Okay, and next here is our lanolin. Whew, I'm not kidding you guys, this stuff smells like a barn. Okay, so we're going to take that in there. And because it's going into a liquid, I'm not going to worry about geometric dilution just yet. Okay? And when we get there, actually, if you look here, we've got 25 lanolin, 10 glycerin, 15 mineral oil. So if we add that all together, it's going to be 50 grams. And we're going to have 50 grams of aquaphor. So it's basically ready to go, geometrically diluted all the way through when we need to worry about it, which is nice. Okay, now I'm just going to mix these three, together here in my mortar and pestle. And I have a feeling it's going to take a while, so I'm going to do that hyperlapse. Okay, so as you can see, after some effort, this has kind of all gone into this almost jelly state where it's taken on the glycerin and the mineral oil. So what I'm kind of looking for here, that sticky sound is just kind of, like I said, that lanolin is very kind of sticky. So you're going to kind of get those almost emulsion pops. I'm just trying to make sure that there aren't big chunks of lanolin still left in here, and that it's mostly a homogeneous mixture. I feel like it looks pretty gross. The color on here isn't great, but it works very well for keeping moisture on our skin. So this would be probably for someone who has very, very dry, cracked feet. And this is just going to help their skin retain that moisture a little bit better. Okay, so there are some air bubbles in here. That's fine. And like I said, we're just going to go ahead and add our 50 grams of 50 grams of aquaphor, and just go right in there because there should be about 50 grams in here. So that's going to cover our rules for geometric dilution. Again, I don't have a scale, but if I was in lab, I would have my 50 grams weighed out. Okay, so there's my aquaphor. About 50 grams, something like that, and we're going to mix them together. Again, it's just kind of that similar motion. We're just going to pull it up off the sides and mix them together. Okay, so you can see I kind of just mixed until it was all evenly distributed. At one point I had to grab my spatula and kind of scrape off some of what was kind of on the side here to try and get it all incorporated, clean off my pestle, and we're just gonna go with that. Now I hope you can kind of see here the consistency. Let me see how I can show this. Like, it's pretty runny, almost like a creamed honey or something. That's what the color looks like. It's kind of what it looks like. Oh man, how am I gonna do this? Okay, I'm gonna try just showing a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So when you pick it up, it's kind of drippy like this. The reason I'm showing you that, it's really hard to get those stiff peaks that we're looking for our Dairy Queen swirl when this is the consistency of the product. So when I'm packaging it, I just really want to make sure that the outsides are nice and clean, and try and get the inside of my ointment pot clean as I can, and try and keep it upright so it doesn't spill all over the place. So, like I said, our master formula and our prescription were for, let's see that. Okay, we're for 100 grams. So I have a 100-gram ointment pot, but I didn't actually measure this. I kind of just eyeballed it, so it might not work out exactly right, but I'm gonna do my best. So when you're finished with this product, what you're gonna do, sorry, forgive me, just gotta get my workspace organized. What we want to do is clean off our pestle, just like we did with our oral compounds, because we kind of want that guy out of the way. Hope you can see the consistency of this on there. Okay, so we're going to clean off our pestle best that we can. I can kind of see that there's a little bit of lanolin left, so I'm going to try and mix that in. I hope it's fairly obvious why we wouldn't want to do this on an ointment pad or slab. Most topicals are done that way, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense. So I don't know if you guys can see that there's that little bit of yellow kind of still not quite mixed in, so I'm just going to make sure that it goes in with my spatula here. Just kind of clean up my edges. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm actually just going to pour it into my ointment pot and try to do it as cleanly as possible. Again, if I would have done this in lab, it would have worked out to pretty close to 100. Although in past years, I actually think we've used a 120 to package this one. But you get the idea. We would pour that. Here, I'm going to grab another one. Okay, so there's one pot. Here's our other pot. We're going to just pour that right in. Okay. And ideally we have it in one container, but if it ends up in two, that's fine. Okay. So just like when we're doing orals, we want to try and do our best to get what we can out of our mortar and pestle. Now, we don't have anything to rinse it with, which is good because we can't mix whatever we rinsed with what's in the jar. So I'm just using my rubber spatula to get whatever I can out of here, and we're going to put that into our ointment pot. Okay. So that's our lanolin foot ointment. Now this one poured quite nicely. I don't really feel like I need to do any cleanup on that pot. I'm going to tap it down. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that up. Now the outside of it, you can't really tell in the video, but it is fairly oily. So I would wash that actually probably with soap and water over just wiping it with some paper towel. Just run it under the sink after I made sure that that seal on top was good. And then I'm just going to try and tidy this one up just a little bit with my rubber spatula. Just try and scrape down the sides a little bit. And that already looks a lot better. And then I'm just going to take some paper towel and clean up the threads. Sorry if I'm annoying you with my insistence on making things look nice, but it's just very important. Okay, so there's our foot ointment. Again, I'd make sure that the seal was on there good and tight. I'd probably wash both of these just with a little bit of soap and water. Change my gloves because they're quite oily as well. And then I would label them for my patient.